Hello, hello, my creative friends. I am so excited to get to talk to you today, and it's not my usual excitement. It's even more because I sat down to record this episode and my power completely went out, which was very odd, and it didn't turn on for 2 hours. So now I've been sulking in this episode, and I just have so much to talk about. My first question for you today is, do you ever feel like your subconscious is your own worst frenemy? Like it's sitting in the corner whispering, hey, do you remember that thing you did back in like 2011? Yeah, you're still not allowed to be happy about it. Well, today we're going to call out that voice. Okay, we're going to rewrite the narrative around what's allowed and how we treat ourselves because we need a higher standard. Every single one of us out there, yes, you should be treating yourself like the queen you are. And as always, it's not super obvious that we're doing this. So it's fun to dig into this topic. So I hope you guys have some aha moments where you can rearrange the way you treat yourself and how you see that playing out in your life. But first off, let me say welcome to all of you, all of my old friends and my new friends. If you're just finding this podcast, my name is Aubrey Bahr. I am a subconscious release technique therapist, plus a massage therapist and a photographer. So I love combining this creative world with what's going on in our heads and really breaking down why we may have blocks, why we may have creative things going on or burnout, all the things that we feel like creatives are susceptible to. That's what we cover in this podcast. So welcome to this beautiful healing space. I try to make it fun, even though the topics sometimes are a little deep, but I know you guys can hang. As always, if you'd give us a review, it would be awesome because that's how people find the podcast. And that's how we've became in the top 5% globally of podcasts out there. So thank you so much. All right, guys, let's dig in. So you may be asking yourself, okay, I get it. We punish ourselves. And a lot of times it's in the background. It's in the back of our heads. We're not even noticing we're doing it. So let's talk about some of those like subtle ways that we are self-sabotaging. Okay. Let's say you are overworking just so you can earn a break. Raise your hand if you do this. I have done this my entire life. First off, this is how I was raised to do things. It was like, well, you can do whatever you want, but you've got to do your chores first. You've got to earn that. And the way that we look at that in our business as being entrepreneurs, not so healthy, we'll say, because as you all know, there's always something to do when you're a creative entrepreneur, when you own your own business. There's literally always something to do. Even when you're outsourcing, you're thinking through what else you need to outsource, right? So there's just a limitless amount of responsibility involved in this, which is totally fine. And we love being our own boss. Yes, but this nap shaming idea is totally out. We're not doing that anymore. We are going to make sure that we call them restorative naps, and we're going to take that on as our new midday siesta, okay? If you need to take a break, if you need to take a nap, you've got to be able to get outside of your subconscious telling you that you have not yet earned that. Because it's not stopping with naps, you guys. That was just a humorous way for me to plant the seeds, but it is also denying you joy. It's denying you gratification. It's stopping you from being someone who announces things that you've accomplished. Hello. I know that's a lot of you out there. Sharing maybe an award that you were given, maybe celebrating how big of a year you had, or even celebrating the clients individually. Maybe you've really had someone that you were able to help change their life through the work that you do. When you have this idea that you haven't earned it yet, you will suppress all of those big emotions from coming through. And guess who loses in the end of that? It's you. It's not your clients. It's not the people around you. It's genuinely you. Okay. Suppressing things that you feel and things that you could be grateful about because you feel you haven't earned them yet is a major problem in the creative world. And I 100% have done this, and I 100% have coached people on this. So I totally see it from every angle. And I'm telling you, you are probably doing it. Open up your mind a bit and find ways that you're doing this. Now, let me explain one more thing about the subconscious, okay? We are basically running on computer programs day in and day out. Okay, so you have a program that says, hey, you're only allowed to get excited about something if and when fill in the blank, right? There's always a program there until you learn to stop it and release it and set your own belief patterns. Okay, so if you're not there yet, listening to this podcast will help you get there, and doing any kind of subconscious work is going to be a huge step for you. But understand that you do not always recognize these patterns right off the bat. You may need some time to really reflect on the words that I'm saying now to pinpoint where this is showing up in your life. Because it is subconscious and you are not always aware, it may be sneaky, okay? And we're okay with sneaky as long as we know how to approach it. When you allow your programming to take the driver's seat, you are very repetitive in things, in your reactions, okay? You end up punishing yourself. And let me do a little analogy here, okay? Punishing yourself is like charging rent to live in your own head. But you're the only tenant and there's literally no landlord. So it's really ridiculous. Like, why would you pay for that? Right? I joke. Okay. So let's dive in a little bit deeper. Okay. You may be wondering, okay, how do I actually fix this? And I want to give you one more real life scenario that I personally experienced yesterday when I was out Christmas shopping. I was going to go Christmas shopping and I knew I had 2 things I needed to get for people. And I ended up getting those 2 things wonderfully. I give myself a check mark because I did such a great job, but I also found something for myself. Okay. So I waited out. I sat there and I'm like, okay, should I get this? And I said yes. I did all the Q&A possible. And I said, yes, I'm going to get this for myself. As soon as I swipe that card and I walk away, the immediate guilt that I felt for making that purchase, it was like a veil was uncovered and I saw all the reasons why I shouldn't get it, even though consciously I had just worked through exactly why I should get it. Okay, do you ever feel like that? Do you feel like, oh my gosh, I have this buyer's remorse, a lot of people would call it, because I didn't even think about, what about I need to do this? Or, is it kind of selfish to get this for myself? Or, whatever comes up in your head. But it's more about that instant guilt, that emotion that just creeps in and says, whoa, 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 whoa. You didn't deserve that. You shouldn't spend money on yourself. 'Tis the season of giving, Aubrey. Right? Like whatever comes up for you when it follows that emotion, you should know that this is a subconscious program. Okay. This is a way that you have programmed yourself, either based on your societal experiences, maybe growing up, you had certain experiences that made you feel like you couldn't purchase things for yourself. Maybe you've had abusive experiences. Maybe you've had just money problems in general where you don't feel like you can purchase things that are for fun or for style or, for pleasure, right? So any of those that come up, it's a great time to dig in, but knowing immediately that that emotion comes up for you is a really big red flag. Okay, let's explore this, right? Let's give me a minute to work through all of this. So yes, always the first step would be awareness, self-awareness, okay? I want to encourage you to notice the self-punishing patterns without judgment, okay? When you have an emotion come up and it's super strong, take a minute and say, okay, what exactly is this emotion? Can I name it? If you can name it, it really helps you to hone in on what's going on. Like some people may have described that feeling as just like anger or frustration or regret. And it's like, well, let's go a little deeper. What does it really feel like? And I know for me personally, it was guilt in that moment, but sometimes it gets confusing when they just come on out of nowhere. As we are learning these things and we're moving through life with these daily frustrations and these daily ways that we punish ourselves, it's really fun to kind of allow ourselves to be in that learning phase. We want to give ourselves a little bit of grace and say, you know what, Aubrey, I'm still learning here. Maybe I made a bad purchase. Maybe I made a good purchase, but I don't feel great about it anymore. How can I make this a better situation? Why don't you catch yourself in that negative thought and imagine it as like this cartoon villain? Like maybe he's like ridiculous. Aubrey, you don't deserve it. Put it back, right? Like making it silly and making it fun and treating your inner consciousness as a child often allows us to be in that learning phase. It allows us to stay there and kind of work through it better because we're intrigued by what is this coming from? Like, what is it trying to tell me? Right. And it just gives us that silly, I'm just a kid. A lot of the things I do, yes, I'm an adult, but I'm still learning like a child because most of us didn't have the opportunity to process everything as a child, right? We weren't given that space that mistakes happen, especially creative people. We often feel like we have to be perfect all the time. We often feel like we have super high standards, right? So allow yourself to be a kid in it and really just divulge what's really going on here and how silly is this thought pattern? How silly is this limiting belief? How ridiculous is it that I have to check off this list of, 100 different things before I can take a break? How silly is that, right? Just allow yourself to be childlike in your perceptions, and it will really help you to break down what is really happening subconsciously. Okay. And then you can take a moment and rewrite the narrative, replace the punishing thoughts with nurturing ones. Okay. Like maybe if you wouldn't say it to your best friend, why would you say it to yourself? So a thought that I may use in my situation where I had purchased that gift for myself, maybe I say, you know what, Aubrey, you have really worked your butt off in 2024. Did you meet all your goals? No, right? Did everything work out perfectly? No. But you're learning and you're making yourself better every day and you're taking people with you. You care so much about other people that you show up in the world and share your insights and share this information with them so that their lives can be better. Isn't that something to celebrate, whether or not you hit all of your goals, whether or not you got all the clients you wanted this year, whether your podcast blew up to be, top 1% or not? Isn't it enough to celebrate that you're a good person and that you have honest intentions to the people around you, that you want to create something that's absolutely beautiful and has a space for people that don't feel like they fit into the world and is a space for people who know that they struggle with punishment, with self-sabotage? When I put it like that, it really helps me to break down that guilt. And I almost open it up and become vulnerable with the thought. And I say, you know what? That's the part of me. That's my higher self actually that came in and said, Aubrey, you need to buy this for yourself. You never do. And now's a great time to gift this to you. That was my higher self coming in and telling me that because she knows who I am. She knows where I've been. She knows what I do. And she has the best ability to judge me according to my works and not according to the society's way of looking at success, right? So when you look at it like that and you go back into the original desire of said shopping spree or the original desire of wanting a nap or wanting to take time away from work or whatever it is, you will find that there's good intentions there. But we often just get stuck with that reoccurring computer program coming in and saying, yeah, we don't do it that way. That's not how we do it. So just allowing yourself to break it down and then try to reframe it is going to be a healing experience in itself to really put you on a different path. Now, the results of reframing something and the results of having this conversation with yourself and feeling into the emotions is incredible. However, when you can add in some type of energy work, some type of reinforcement, we'll call it, you're going to find that it's a lot easier to not go back to those old programs because we're not just here to acknowledge these programs that they happen, we actually want to stop them. We want to stop them in their tracks, which is why I love subconscious release technique, because that's exactly what we do is we find the individual program and then we're able to release it in a session. So we could say, peace out, we're done with this, we're moving on with life, which is great. For today, what I really want you to take away from this is I want you to start recognizing those patterns. I want you to start diving deeper into those emotions and what they actually mean to you. And I want you to label them the best way you can. Like, I self-sabotage when I feel like I made a lot of money, but I didn't actually deserve it. Right? That might play out with you having like a really big month followed by a really low month. Or maybe you say, I punish myself when I don't feel like I work hard enough. And this may look like a very productive day, making you feel like $1,000,000, even though you're completely exhausted and it absolutely did no favors to your body or your relationships with other people or your business. And then as a side effect to that, you may find yourself wanting to book these super agonizing long days just so you can put a check on it at the end of the day and say, see, I did it. Even though it's not conducive to long-term in your business and it absolutely leads to burnout and other poor behaviors that you're really trying to avoid. Right? So this might be time to look at your mini sessions. I see this all the time where they're like, well, I make, so much money in 2 days and then I can't move for a week. It's like, was that worth it? Really? Was it? I don't know. But you may be purposely doing that to yourself because you feel like you're checking off some kind of box of productivity or overachiever. And really, there's a lot of things under that we can dig into. So I hope that this has been enlightening for you guys. I want to leave you today with maybe a little affirmation around how to reframe this story and kind of make it more fun and more empowering. So you can say something like, I am so happy and so thankful. I am open to receiving more than I can imagine in all areas of my life. And just by doing that, we are turning off that part of us that wants to question it, that wants to challenge it, that wants to punish ourselves for whatever things that we feel like we are weak on. Right? We just want to turn that off. We want to really enjoy the beautiful parts about us because every single one of you that is listening has attributes that are absolutely amazing. You're an incredible person. You help people through your art and you're trying deeply to use that also to help yourself, which is an incredible way to leave this world better just for knowing you. And encourage the people around you to be better people and spread happiness and joy and love and all the things that help us to feel like we're in a higher vibration all the time. So I am thankful for you. I'm thankful for my listeners. And I am every day just so proud of what I see people do. Even if we're not working one-on-one with each other, when you take time out of your busy day to put effort into seeking more clarity for your own life and following more your intuition, you are personally and energetically growing. You are becoming something that you were meant to be. So wherever you are, thank you for coming. Thank you for listening into this. I truly hope that there was something in here that was a nugget of information that you will take with you as you go about your day. And please know that you are worthy of change. All right, guys, I hope you have a beautiful day. Check out the show notes for information on my one-to-one sessions. I currently have one spot. And as always, if you have any questions, any concerns, or any self-reflection that came out of this episode, please let me know. I thrive on hearing how you guys are doing and what else you need help with. All right, friends, we will talk soon. Bye-bye.